Om Stapakaya च धर्मस्य सर्वधर्मस्वरूपिणे अवतारवरिष्ठाय रामकृष्णाय ते नमः जननीं शारदां देवीं रामकृष्णं जगद्गुरुं पादपद्मे तयोः श्रुत्वा प्रणमामि मुहुर्मुहुः नमः श्री यतिराजाय विवेकानन्दसूरये सच्चित्सुखस्वरूपाय स्वामिने तापहारिणे ओम पूर्णमद पूर्णमिदं पूर्णात् पूर्णमुदच्यते पूर्णस्य पूर्णमादाय पूर्णमेवावशिष्यते ओम शांति शांति शांति. So the last time when we discussed, उस समय में कहा गया, the time was clearly said that for liberation the purification of mind is most important. इसकी तो हम लोग we have already seen the goal. According to this text, the goal of life is mukti or moksha. And to get that mukti or moksha, one has to, what is to be done? Obviously, the disciple wants to know. And the answer is manashuddhi. Tan manashodhanam karyam prayatnena mumukshinam. With tremendous effort, prayatna. It doesn't come easily. Does purification of mind come easily? Again and again we decide, we resolve, we will not do it, again we do it. Because that is the nature, that is the nature. No one is nothing good or bad about it. That's the very nature of the mind. So unless it is done with tremendous effort and determination, with the goal in mind, जब आप आपका जीवन के लक्ष्य के बारे में याद रखते हैं, then you can see why. How do we do anything? Only when we want to achieve something, we want to reach some place in time, then we quickly get up, dress, do whatever it is to be done, go. Otherwise, you just sleep for more time, you just keep lying down because nothing is to be done immediately. So like that, if there is a goal in mind, if it is in view, then it happens more faster and more with determination. Vishuddhesti chetasmin muktihi karapalayate. That's the last sloka we saw. So if the mind is purified, liberation is just like amlaki on your palm. This is a very common example they use in these shastras, because amlaki is a wonderful fruit. So if it is in your hand, do you have to make any effort, special effort to see it, or to do like this? No, simply you see because it's just so visible. So liberation is as easy as the fruit on one's palm. The amlak karaphalayat, of course, he is not talking about amlak, he is a fruit in one's hand. As easy as that. So easily visible, so easily attainable. So then he says, how it is to be done? Obviously, purification of mind, yes, that is understood. What is the way? How it is to be done? Moksheka satya vishesh ragam nirmulya sanyasya cha sarva karma sat shraddhaya yas shravanadi nishto rajasvabhavam sa dhunoti buddhehe. So, with tremendous dedication and determination, concentration, the desire for liberation, as I said, if the goal is very strongly in front of you, you will make an effort. People know they want to make money, they want to build a house, they want to do something, they want to buy. How much effort we make? I could also say people are ready to weep so much for son, wife, husband, and other things. But who is ready to weep for God? He asks. The same way, if this is mokshaika satya, with tremendous determination, supreme dedication to the liberation, if the tremendous attachment towards ashakti towards mukti, not ashakti towards world, if that is there, not only that, nirmulya ragam, completely getting rid of all attachments to objects. Each one is so difficult because we have attachment, asankhya vastuo ko prati akarshana. It's not that just one, just you can easily give up. If there are no end to the things to which we are attached. But it says, unless nirmulya, uprooted. Nirmulya means just not remove. It means it's so strong a word. You completely have to uproot all the attachments to objects from the mind. And then sannyasya sarvakar, giving up all actions. Shraddhaya savanadi nish, with firm and tremendous shraddha, if you do shravana, etc., then with the completely the rajasvabhavam dhanoti buddhi, the rajasvabhava of the intellect is totally destroyed. So then how does he, what is the words especially? Mokshaika satya means the supreme determination with tremendous attachment towards moksha. Then only the idea of purification we will think about. Then Vishayosh Ragam Nirmulya, completely it is to be uprooted, because why we are going after the objects? We think that they will give us joy, they will give us happiness, they will give us comfort, they will give, but everything, ultimately proves to be otherwise. You can take many examples. We think that, these things, if we eat nicely, it will be very good. You eat good things, stomach gets upset, then cholesterol increases, blood pressure increases, blood sugar increases, because many of the items which are so delicious to eat, invariably they produce a wrong effect on the body. Most of the items, if you see, very rarely is a thing which is extremely tasty and it's also good for body. You tell me how many items are there? Most of the items we think which are very delicious, which are so nice, which are so good to eat, ultimately they are really not good for the body. That is the same with most of the attachment. People are so attached to wife and husband and children and grandchildren and this and that. Everything brings only sorrow at the end. Because there will be some disagreement, there will be some separation due to death or marriage or going away or something like that. We put everything in somebody, suddenly the person grows up and says that I have nothing to do with you. I have to go in my own way. Simply disowns everything and goes away. So it's always only those who deal with relationships at a distance, एक थोड़ा दूरी रख के सब करते हैं, वही बसते हैं. नहीं तो सब, everybody is caught in this game, because something or other will come, some disagreement will come. So much we have, of course, it's all part of it. Somebody there, some living in quite a faraway place. So much we have done for that family. So many times we visited that place also, and this and that. For any problem, they would only refer. And suddenly something I know very well. There is no need to tell me. Keep on explaining over phone. So many people are sitting. I said, why are you wasting my time? And afterwards, they have completely stopped talking. Because if you speak the truth, means relationships will be spoiled. You can't speak the truth. So this is a nature. Human relations are always like that. As long as Thakur says, 1,000 good things you do, one thing if it doesn't agree, but immediately they will be against you. Because the relationships are made like, because you see, unless the relationship is through a higher ideal, Buddha Maharaj always used to say, he was towards the end, he knew that he will not be. So someone very close, devotees, how close they were, you cannot imagine, because he was so loving and affectionate by nature. So somebody was, see, even if the body goes, you must come, because one who is in the temple will listen to you, will understand you, you must come to him. That's what he said. Specifically, he told somebody, even after his body goes, don't stop coming. Come, because the one who is in the temple, he is living and he will listen to you. We are only busy trying to build relationship with human beings, that too on a very, very superficial level. So all that will break, obviously. All that will break, all that will cause sorrow, suffering, pain. Why? Because there is no depth or no meaning in these relationships. So every house, every family, everything, it all happens like that. So that is why See, even the ashramas, etc. also. Here also, unless we learn to cultivate something like that, where the relationships are of a higher nature. Whereas in many places, many ashramas, many sampradayas, not only mission, it also becomes like another extension of Laukika only. Either the sadhus keep on asking for this project, this funding, that funding, or something like that. And the devotees are also very uselessly, they come and spend time talking only about useless things. So everything, how will all that go? How all the raga, how can it be nirmulya? How can it be uprooted? It will never happen. Because it will only happen this way all the time. Unless you understand how binding these are. See, how will you uproot something? Something, you love to eat rasagullas so much. Why would you completely uproot the idea of eating rasagullas? How will you do it? Why will you do it? You will not do it. I like to eat rasagullas. I will keep it, I will nurture it, I will do more and more. However much anyone may advise you will not listen. Because you think that is good. But if you really examine, slowly, that type of taking sugar is very bad for health. The raw sugar or raw salt, both are extremely bad. In the long run, they will only produce negative effects on the body, on the health. But unless you understand the real purpose, why this is to be given up, what is the point of uprooting this all ragas totally from the root? So that why uprooting means at no point they would again sprout. So simply cut at the surface, again they will come, again they will become big. That's why he says nirmulya ragam. Totally you have to uproot it, bring out from the roots, so that they never sprout again. Give them nothing. See, that is possible. Only you need a very special type of mind like that. In Thakur's mind also, a desire arose that he will have a shawl and he will smoke hookah in a silver he will smoke using a silver hookah. And the moment Mathu Baba was waiting, always the moment Thakur said, costliest shawl maybe 1,000 rupees in those days. Today it must maybe 1 lakh or a few lakhs probably. And the silver hookah was brought. So Thakur said, oh, he smoked this way, he smoked this way. Oh, this is the meaning of smoking in a silver hookah. Threw it away. And shawl he put on that. Oh, this is wearing such a costly shawl. He threw it on the floor, stamped it with his feet, and then he was about to spit on it. Then quickly Mathur Baba took away the shawl was so costly. And for life, the vritti never arose in Thakur's mind that will smoke in a silver hookah or put on a shawl. That is nirmulya. Uprooting it so that never again it will sprout. We also try to give up. Oh, I will not eat sweet. 1 day, 2 day, 3rd day, 1 day. Oh, only today I will take. From tomorrow I will not. Again, 100 times we break our resolutions on a daily basis because it is not nirmulya. It's only surface level only we are cutting. And to become nirmulya, you must clearly the purpose or the goal or why it is done, that should be shining in front of you. Should be shining. If it is very clear, supposing this looks like something but it's poison, will you take it? You will avoid. Once you know that sometimes in some presentation somewhere they graphically describe what happens if you take sugar, where it goes, how it affects. Once you see that, bus finished. Baba, this is the death. So if you understand the seriousness of it, any vishaya, any raga, any attachment, if you understand the seriousness of the problem, you will give it up. Otherwise, see, not only there is no moksha, moksha to duri baat hai. There is no end to suffering, no end to sorrow. How much we put our love and affection on children and grandchildren and this and that. We think that we are going to work, we are going to have some disagreement or separation, somebody going elsewhere. Then the whole thing is lost. So it's very important. It's a very important lesson. But then what it next says is that's a very, very debatable idea. He says, Sannyasya sarvakam, giving up all actions that is Sarva karma, even nishkama, work without any desire for fruits. The nitya, obligatory, and naimittika, they are only at special occasions to be done. Nitya karmas, naimitya karmas, everything you have to completely give up. Sanyasya. And then sarupatapi parityajya. Completely, totally. There should not be in any form. So this is Shankaracharya's view. Of course, we have discussed it again and again several times, but of course, briefly again we can touch. This is where Swamiji clearly took a deviation. No, it's not possible. Idea is very good. Suppose someone can, one Shankaracharya can do, one Ramana Maharshi could do, one such Turyananda maybe can do. Such people can. In fact, even such people sometimes, Turyananji, Swamiji wanted him to stay more in America. But he was such a traditional monk, he could no longer stand all that. He forcibly was coming away. In the ship itself, he got the news that Swamiji has attained Mahasamadhi. After that, he completely withdrew himself from everything. He was so sad that he didn't listen to Swamiji. So, everything, it's a very good idea because essentially because karma always brings attachment. Any work, even if you do ashrama, I built that ashrama, how difficult it was, how much I struggled, how much we collected, how much this was there, how much that was there. Somewhere or other all will come. And that is attachment. Wherever there's me and mine, mera, mera. So somewhere it will come. So that is why the earlier school, the Shankaracharya school, the Adi Shankara was very, very clear that completely you have to give up. There cannot be any compromise, totally. But my Swamiji differed because, as I said yesterday also, you don't have to worry about it. If you always, supposing, you know that all work is to be given up ultimately for moksha, then till you get to that point, you'll be constantly in a mode of conflict. There'll be a tremendous dissatisfaction in your mind. Maybe you are a housewife looking after your husband and children, but you know that what you are doing is bad for mukti. You have to give it up. It's absolutely harmful. Then how will you serve people with that kind of a feeling? It's not possible. So anyone, whatever one might do, there will always be a constant conflict between your goal of life and with the practices that you are adopting. So it is not possible that every 1 hour, a morning 1 hour, evening 1 hour, I will do niti vichara, and rest of the time I will do. But he is not giving any scope. That is why Swamiji said, whatever disciplines you practice, but even while doing other things, you have a different attitude towards work. That work will not bind you. Swamiji was very clear. See, that also, does it happen very easily? No. We are supposed to do Nishkam Karma also. When you build a new ashrama, take a new project, or do something, here also, somewhere or other it comes. But the point is, if you consistently try, the path is maybe a little easier there. Because that is more in keeping with your real nature. हम सबको बहुत ही प्रयास करने का, मेहनत करने का, काम करने का प्रवृत्ति है. That's our nature. So instead of simply saying that नहीं, ये तो अच्छा नहीं है, whatever you do, can you try to keep that attitude? That's what Swamiji also never said that, because at the highest point of knowledge, when there is oneness, when there is a Chaitanya, when there is Brahman or Atman, obviously there is no duality. वहां तो कोई द्वैत कुछ हो नहीं सकता है. At that point of time, because the moment you say karma, then karta, karma, kriya, karan, everything comes. The doer, the object of karma itself, and also the instruments all come into play. There is definitely dvaita, much more than that whenever you do. But merely by saying that no, I will not do, you are not going to get away from that. So many of the people, even if you go to Uttarkashi or some place where even there are sadhus, physically they are not doing any activity. But constantly they are thinking about which Sethji is going to organize Bandara today. वहाँ क्या लड्डू मिलेगी ना पूरी मिलेगी. So that kind of thing will not help you. Mentally also you must be free. It's not enough if you are physically free. So without being fully prepared, if you only just to try to give up mentally, you physically you will end up doing more karma through the mind. That's why it's always good to go. Swamiji is not a person who was interested in work or anything. That was not his nature. He himself always wanted to live immersed in samadhi only. But he saw the condition of the society, he studied the minds of people, and he said, for this yuga, what Ramakrishna taught is the best way. Whereby you do work, but with the idea, Shiv Gyan se Jeev Seva. Looking upon human beings as veritable manifestation of God, if you do that, or Bhagavan ki aap jo bhi kar rahe hain, whatever puja you do, what attachment is there? You only develop love for God, love for something higher, love for transcendence. Then through that path, probably it's possible to reach a state when all work will automatically drop off by itself. एक है तो हम जबरदस्ती कुछ बंद कर दिया, एक है मैं ऐसे ही परिपूर्णता प्राप्त कर लिया, वैसे ही वो छूट जाती. It goes by itself because I have reached such a level of overflowing abundance. Then that's why sometimes when one of our sadhus centers, there was one very great sadhu. He was Valimada's disciple. His name was Kalidama. When newly somebody comes to join, simply his instruction is feed them like anything. They will run, no, till then they will feed. So much feed, these, that, anything. So that otherwise, many of them come from middle class or lower middle class families. So in ashramas, such bhoga and such thing, there's always maybe desire. He said, no, let them feed so much. Then after some time, automatically they will give up because so much is done. Then there is no more desire for that. So Swamiji was very clear that you have to do it because otherwise that manashodhanam will not happen so easily. Because there are so much tendencies in the mind, so much desire for performing. So instead of otherwise, what people would do useless things or spend time thinking about worthless things in the mind and thereby being extremely active in the mind, but physically not doing anything. So that is why he was very, very clear. He did not differ from Shankara. Only in the method, he was little different. He said, no, this is the way. Anyway, ultimately, all actions drop off at the point of highest mukti. But Shankaracharya is very clear. See, the point is, if you have done your nitya karma, naimitya karma, etc. He also elsewhere he talks about the preparation. In that he clearly says all beginners have to do nitya naimitya karma, etc. Here he is talking about an aspirant who is advanced, जो बहुत कुछ कर चुके हैं, तैयारी भी कर ले, वैसे कोई साधकों की बात वो करते हैं. He is talking about those who have done all the preliminary preparations, and at that stage, yes, once you have done for a number of years nitya naimitya karmas, etc., one can definitely try to give up. Then sat shraddhaya, with earnestness, for the highest, for the sadvastu, that cannot be desh kal nimitta sabko, it is beyond everything, all periods of time, unswavering earnestness in the Sat by the faith in the words of Guru and the Shastras. Shraddha is generally in our scriptures, in the Hindu tradition. Normally these are the things which are taken for Shraddha. First and foremost, the words of the Guru. And then the words of the scriptures. These are inviolable. We always speak of these two. And then Savanadi Nishtaha, with Nishta, with unbroken concentration, continuously hearing, meditating, and then hearing, reflection, and meditative. Shravana, manana, nididhyas. First hearing, then going deeper, and then meditating on it. Then rajasvabhavam sadhanoti buddhehe dhunoti ukte. Completely eradicates the rajas nature, because the buddhi has also, sattva, tama. Tama is the first, even at the very preliminary stage, which is indolence, sleep, laziness, etc., etc. But the real problem is the rajas is the one which distorts, which gives a wrong picture actually. So Tama actually covers, even if we get over tamas, rajas will distort the truth, will show it as something else. So that is why when there is this attachment to body, etc., which happens when one performs kriya, so these are all, these karmas deflect the buddhi. They take it on the wrong path. They take it aside from the truth. So he says that is because rajas means kriya, action, participation. So when rajas swabhavam dhunoti buddhe, the rajas nature of the intellect or buddhi is completely destroyed by, if you practice with tremendous shraddha, shravan, manan, nididhyasana, etc. So the person direct his mind completely inward, then he is secured. The mind does not wander here or there, and that is why he is on the path to mukti. So this is the what Shankaracharya advocates by way of purification of the mind. And then next he says the anatma nature of manomaya kosha. He explains manomayo nabi bhavet paratma ह्याद्यंतवत् परिणामी भावात् दुःखात्मकत्वात् विषयत्व हेतुः दृष्टा हि दृश्यात्मतया न दृष्टः. What is that? Manomayo napi bhavet paratma. The manomaya cannot be the paramatma. Kyun? Because it has beginning and end, because it is adi and antavat. And then parinami bhava is also subject to modifications. Then dukkhatmakatvat, it's also, it suffers, it's of the nature of suffering. Then vrishayatma hetu, there is an object. Finally, drishtahi drishyatmataya na drishtaha. The seeing subject cannot be the same as the object. You are seeing something, that and you cannot be same. The manomaya is constantly seen by the Atma or the Shakshi or the witness or the Chaitanya. So the manomaya cannot be the highest, it is different, it cannot be the same as Atman for these reasons. And then if you look at the explanation, why the manomaya cannot be the Atman, Paramatman? Why? It is Adyantavat. It has beginning and end. Why? Because in the dreamless sleep there is no mind. So when you wake up, again the mind comes back. Again it arises. So it is not the Atma, which is neither which is Anadi and Ananda, which is no Adi and no Anta. Whereas the Manomaya is there at some point of time, sometimes it is not there, again it comes back. So it is not eternal or permanent or everlasting like the Atman. It comes and goes, so it cannot be. That which is coming and going, that which is limited existence, that cannot be the Atman, because Atman is Anadi, Ananda, and it is eternal. And then also parinami bhava is of the nature of change. It's not same always. It has it's a kama, it has sankalpa, then it's vikshepa, shraddha, ashraddha, dhriti, adhriti. Then there's ananda, nirananda, bhai. and then without fear. So many kinds of things happen in the mind. All these are part of the mind. So, in every stage, the mind constantly changes. So, it is not avikarin or changeless like the Atman. Atman, they say, is avikarin. There is no change. Whereas the mind is constantly changing. Now it is happy. Next moment it is unhappy. Then it is happy. Then it is confused. Then it is calm. Then it is fighting. Then it is something else. So the mind constantly, it is subject to vikara or change. So unless it is avikarin, changeless, it cannot be the Atman, which is constantly, which is not subject to any change. Which is another reason why it can be the Supreme Self or the Paramatman. And then Dukkhatmakatma. It is the nature of completely, it's a compacted dukkha. Its nature itself is no constant grief. The mind is, most of the cases, the little sparks of happiness come once in a way. But mostly, the mind is full of dukkha. Not only that, sukha also you can take. That is sukha, dukkha. Constantly, it's like that. So the mind has to be purified, it has to be freed from dukkha, etc. So all these, why all these happen? This sukha, dukkha, everything, again due to adhyasa or the wrong understanding or wrong association, the covering, all that. That is why the Manomaya Kosha cannot be Atman, which is only of the nature of bliss, Ananda, Satyam, Jnanam, Anantam, Brahma. It's Satya, it's Jnana, it's Ananta, Satchit, Ananda Swarup, it's Ananda Swarup. Whereas in the Manomaya and the Mana, you every now and then I constantly experience so much of dukkha. But if it is of the Swarupa of Anandamaya, the Atman, obviously this Manomaya cannot be that. Because it constantly suffers dukkha, it is subject to all that. So this is not the Atman. And then Vishayatva Hetoho. You see, this is the Anyatra Mana Anubhavam Nadraksham Anyantara Mana Abhuvam Nastrausham. The mind was elsewhere. I did not see. The mind was elsewhere. I did not hear. You always see, constantly. Because somebody is sitting in front of you, you are so deeply absorbed in something, you don't see him. After 10 minutes, अरे मैं तो यहाँ बैठा हूँ 10 minutes से, I am sitting before you for 10 minutes. Oh, I didn't see. My mind was elsewhere. Then somebody is talking to you, suddenly, अरे आप क्या बोला? What did you say? Hey, why? No, my mind was elsewhere. I didn't hear. So therefore, the mind, this is an object of cognition by the witnessing consciousness, because it is itself a Vishaya. The mind itself is a Vishaya. The Sakshi or the Chaitanya or the Atman constantly sees the mind, buddhi, indriyas, they are all objects witnessed by that supreme power, Atman. So that which is a cognized object, it cannot be the Atman, which is a universal witness constantly. If something is an object, that cannot be witnessed, because witness is something which sees the object. So similarly, drishtahi drishyatma dayana drishtaha. Seeing object is nowhere seen to be the seen object. Supposing you are seeing something, I am seeing this mic. Me and this mic are different. I am seeing you. You are different from me. So the seer and the seen can never be the same. So the Atman is something which is an eternal witness, Chaitanya, which looks at everything, which is aware of everything. Nothing escapes its attention. It's a constant, eternal witness. So the mind is a constant object. It is now this, it now, and sometime later something else, constantly changes its rupa, its shape, its perception, and then such a mind obviously cannot be the Atman. So these are the reasons why the mind is anatman. Because among the several questions which the Shishya asked, what is anatman? He asked, Then what is Paramatman? That will come later. So now he's explaining what are the anatma aspects. Then he takes for explanation. Yeah, slowly, Vrindavan is going. Manomaya is over. Now he's taking up Vijnanamaya Kosha. Vijnanamaya Kosha is also something to be given up, but it's also in the path. How it is? बुद्धिन्द्रियैः सार्धं सवृत्तिः कर्तृलक्षणः विज्ञानमय कोशः स्यात् पुंसः संसारकारणम्. Vijnanamaya Kosha is the reason for the human, for the Purusha, to be in samsara, to be in bondage. Buddhindriya. Buddhi with his knowledge and action. Sardham savritti kartrilakshana. Having the characteristics of an agent. This is called Vijnanamaya Kosha. Vijnanamaya Kosha syat. And this is cause of samsara. Buddhindriya sardham. With the 5 jnanendriyas, eye, ear, nose, etc., etc., the indriyas of knowledge, jnanendriyas. So these which give the knowledge and along with the buddhi, this is together, it is called Vijnanamaya Kosha. Not less savritti, vritti. What is this vritti? Modification of the mind stuff. See, mind, man, buddhi, chitta, ahankar, together it's also called mind. These are all aspects of the mind, totally that way. So here, what he says is, what is this vritti? This vritti is that which really determines. See, whenever any experience comes, supposing your eyes go to see an object, then they bring that matras to the mind. Mind really debates whether it is a horse or a cow. How that mind does, because of the previous vasanas, previous experiences, they're all stored. It's a supercomputer stored within you. That identifies what is it. Something is totally new, it gives a new name also for that. That you have never seen. That also a new name is also. So then that refers it to buddhi. That's the Vijnanamaya Kosha, where it determines really what it is. Whether it is this or that. The final decision is taken by the buddhi in the Vijnanamaya Kosha. So that is what finally leads also to ultimate action. Because unless somebody is there to decide whether today we have to go for that party or not, the going or not going will happen only when the decision is made. So this Vijnanamaya Kosha is the one, he is the person really controls. He takes the final decision. What is to be taken, not to be taken. Then Kartrilakshanaha is a quality of Karta, who is of the nature of knowledge, desire and action, all combined together. Gyan bhi hai, Ichcha Vasanaye bhi hai, और Kriya bhi hai. So once because to decide, why it will decide? First of all, it must have the knowledge. Kya hai, samajhna chahiye. And then some action will follow. Once you decide, then action comes. And also, largely it is the desire which prompt the action in a particular way. So this together, it's a karya kartri lakshana, kartri lakshana, the quality of a karta. I am the karta, I am the agent. And then Vijnanamaya Koshasya, it is called by the name Vijnanamaya Kosha. This capacity, this kosha, this part is called the knowledge kosha or the knowledge division. By Pumsa, what is the effect? It is the cause of samsara. So the antikarana, when it's subject to doubt, it's called manas. But then when it is modified in the form of a determinate knowledge, it is called buddhi. So the action begins only after the decision is made, as I told you. So that is where the point of action and the point of decision, etc. So the relation between mind and the buddhi, like mind precedes. Hence, Vijnanamaya Kosha is spoken of separately after talking about Manomaya Kosha, because it follows what the mind is first, the previous step, it is referring with the doubt, what is it actually? Then the next step in the succession, Vijnanamaya Kosha gets into operation, and that determines the final result. So because all these jnanendriyas are definitely attached to the mind also. It's the mind which these indriyas, they first come in contact with the mind one. So the jnanendriyas are as much part of mind as well as this buddhi. But then, so the Vijnanamaya Atma is different from Manomaya because it is doing the job of actually determining what is what, whether it's right or wrong, whether it's good or bad, whether it's nil or lal, everything, final decision, what it is determined by Vijnanamaya Kosha. And then, Anuvrajat Chit Pratibimba Shakti Vijnana Sanya Prakritir Vikaraha Jnana Kriyavan Ahamitya Jasrasam Dehendriyadishu Abhimanyate Brisham. Very, that is very, very clear, candid. This is very beautifully. But of course, to take it slowly. He says, Vijnana Kosha's power of reflection. It's a modification of Prakriti. Avidya ki ek roop hai. It's characterized by knowledge and action, as we always say, and always identifies with the body, mind, etc. Dehandrishu abhimanyate brisham. Always identify. That's why otherwise bondage will not be there. The very nature of bondage is identification with the body and mind, and Vijnanamaya Kosha always does that. So actually, buddhi is the effect of action of the five indriyas, five senses. The chit is referred in his actually the reflection of the Paramatman because of the immediateness of it. Because it is so close to the Supreme Self, that reflection is what is making it brighter. That's what gives that glow to that Vijnanamaya Kosha. Vijnanamaya Kosha is just a reflection of the Supreme Self. Supreme Self is reflected in the Vijnanamaya Kosha. Its Shakti is the nature of illumination because the reflected one also has the light of the one which is reflecting. Just as they always give this famous example, supposing you reflect sun in a mirror, even with that reflected light you can do many things. You can remove darkness from places, etc., etc. So in the same way, the Vijnanamaya Kosha, which reflection, which light is because of the Atman or the Supreme Self, that also is of the nature of illumination because it is bright, shining with that reflected light. Then, Anuvrajastit Pratibimba Shakti. So, it is the, because of the chit, nature of that, Pratibimba is a reflection of the Atman's light or the glow or the power. Then, Vijnana Sanya, it is called, its name is Vijnana because it is a buddhi that determines, it is a doer of actions like yagas, yajnas, all actions are performed because of the buddhi. So its nature is called Vijnanam, Vijnanam Yajnam Tanate, because Vijnana is called, it is full of knowledge because it determines. And then Prakritir Vikara, what is that? Where from it has come? It's also again a modification of the Prakriti or Avidya. This is Kosha is the effect of Avidya on the Sukshma Bhuta Prapancha. This is very technical, you don't have to bother about that. So it is the combination of the Sattva elements, but very nature is of the nature of Avidya, it is because of the Prakriti. So this is the, in a succession of births, it keeps on happening one after another. Jnana Kriyavan, Jnana and Kriya are the nature, the form of inquiry into objects, contemplation, and finally doing various actions. So Dehendriyadishu, that is in the body and the organs. Everywhere ultimately, whichever kosha, whatever name we give, ultimately it all boils down to the attachment to the body and the organs, body and the senses. So that is why the attachment of the jiva with the body cannot take place without buddhi. It is the buddhi which gives you a wrong understanding that instead of being an Atman, you are the body and the mind. Is buddhi. Although it is a wrong knowledge, it has come only from Vijnanamaya Kosha that is responsible for this wrong knowledge. So the the the, the Chaitanya, or it's also spoken of because of its non-difference from the with the Buddhi, as distinct from non-distinct from Jiva, because in that state of bondage, this Atman is mistaken, the Jiva is mistaken to the Atman with all its limitations. So in the waking and dream states, it always considers this as I'm a man, I'm a woman, I'm rich, I'm poor, I'm doing this, I'm doing that, I'm a millionaire, I'm a pauper, I'm a beggar, I'm good, I'm bad. All these are all, actually, if you see, examine all that, they're all various forms of attachment to the body and the senses only. When we say I am something or something and all that, see that I, that identification, directly leads to the idea of body or the senses. So that is why this Vijnanamaya Kosha also creates tremendous amount of bondage, and unless the buddhi is completely purified, it will continue to bind us and keep us in the samsara. That's why human beings are eternally in samsara, because of the power of Vijnanamaya Kosha, which also dilutes by giving us the wrong knowledge and by creating in us the identification with the body and the senses. Yes. Then the agency of Vijnanamaya Kosha will take up next step. Yes.
Transmigration.
Transmigration is beyond death.
Cause of man's transmigration.
Huh?
So these characteristics are cause of man's transmigration.
Yes. Next birth. See, in the birth, it also goes, along with the Sukshma Sharira, Vijnanamaya Kosha, because there the vasanas, etc., are all stored there. So the body drops off. But then the Stula Sarira. But the Sukshma, which contains all the vasanas and desires, etc., which all relate to this Manomaya and Vijnanamaya Kosha, they go along with the body for the next birth. वो अलग है ज्ञान अज्ञान की पारे जाना. There he talks of even beyond that, where he talks of Vigyan maybe or something. One can, if people, when we are in ignorance, first of all, अज्ञान की पार जाना ही हम लोग को नहीं हो रहा है. Then ज्ञान की पार कैसे जाएंगे? So it's a very far cry. Normally, it's enough if we go beyond Ajnana and reach the level of Jnana. At some stage, see, there, Thakur is talking about at a very normal level. Normally हम लोग जानते हैं नहीं जानते हैं, दोनों छोड़ के आप ये कर दो, माँ की शरणों में सिर्फ शुद्धा भक्ति मांगो. So there it is, it's not talking about Brahma Gyan. It's talking about the existential knowledge. साधारण से हम लोग ज्ञान जो कहते हैं उसके बारे में कहते हैं. I know something, I can do this, I can't do this. वही करना नहीं करना, जानना नहीं जानना, at that existential level, उसकी बात करते हैं. ओम शांति शांति शांति. हरि ओम तत्सत. श्री रामकृष्ण अर्पणमस्तु.